The sun blazed as our yacht neared an uncharted island. I could feel its allure, a wild, untamed beauty. With Luke, Serena, Mia, Raj, and me, Ben, we decided to set foot on the island's enigmatic red sands. Mia, always the historian, whispered tales of ships that vanished near these shores, stories of an island never touched by modern civilization, where primordial horrors lurked, but we laughed it off. As evening approached, we stumbled upon a peculiar sight, an old village, but eerily preserved. At its center stood a massive stone temple, its entrance guarded by ancient statues, their faces twisted in agonizing screams. Venturing inside, the walls depicted scenes of ritualistic feasts and dances. But as we progressed, the art grew macabre, human sacrifices, cannibalistic feasts, and shadows feasting upon souls. The heart of the temple held a pool of dark, reflective liquid. As I peered into its depths, my reflection twisted into a grotesque version of myself. The others didn't see it, but I felt an insidious whisper beckoning me to dive in. That night we camped within the village. It was Mia who first heard the ghostly whispers. Shadows danced around, each whispering tales of their end on this cursed island. Our first shocking discovery came with dawn. Luke was missing. Frantic, we found a trail leading back to the temple. The pool now shimmered crimson. Nearby lay Luke's heart, neatly extracted. We should have fled, but something compelled us to stay. Was it the island's grip, or mere human curiosity? Each night, one of us vanished, and every morning, another heart lay next to the pool, the liquid growing brighter. In utter despair, Serena confessed a gruesome revelation. The island, she trembled. It feeds on souls, using us as a conduit. Every heartbeat draws it power. By the third day, only Mia, Raj, and I remained. That's when we understood the horrifying twist. It wasn't the island. Mia, under its spell, had been the one sacrificing us. In her eyes I saw a hunger older than time. With chilling calmness, she revealed the island's secret. The cannibals from the legends were the island's defense mechanism against the real evil, the entity within the pool. And Mia was its newest acolyte. She lunged at Raj, her fingers transforming into razor-sharp claws. The struggle was intense, but the outcome inevitable. Raj's heart joined the others. Horrified, I fled into the woods, Mia's laughter echoing behind. Days became a blur. Exhausted and starved, I stumbled upon a shocking realization. Another yacht, wrecked and hidden amidst the trees. It was decades old, its logbook filled with desperate scribbles eerily mirroring our own experiences. My final hope was to reach our yacht. But as it came into view, Mia emerged, flanked by shadowy figures, the souls of our friends. The final twist was the cruelest. The yacht had been sabotaged. We had been lured, trapped. Despite the island's horrors, nature was cruelly indifferent. Birds sang, their notes a stark contrast to the haunting silence. Vegetation crept over ruins, nature reclaiming its space. Trapped, I decided to investigate the village further, hoping to find a way out. T. Kingfisher's tales often reminded me that even in the darkest tales, there's a hint of absurdity, an element of the mundane intertwined with terror. In one hut, I found a diary, worn out by time. Its pages spoke of the island's original settlers, the tribe who had first discovered the malevolent entity within the temple. They had been simple folk, unsuspecting of the darkness they'd uncovered. Ironically, they weren't the cannibals of legend. They had become the first victims, their essence consumed while the world branded them as monsters. The island's true horror was adept at rewriting its own narrative. One entry caught my attention. It detailed a ritual, a potential way to appease the entity. It required 5 hearts willingly given. Reading between the lines, I realized the gruesome truth. My friends and I had been led to this fate. But there was hope. The diary hinted that the entity could be trapped once more. It required a pure soul to willingly step into the pool, pulling the entity into a timeless void. But such a sacrifice would mean eternal entrapment. I knew my choices were limited. Making my way back to the temple, Mia awaited, her form now more shadow than human. But within her eyes I glimpsed moments of her old self. "It doesn't have to be this way," I whispered, clutching the diary. She paused, a silent plea in her gaze. She hadn't completely succumbed. Reminding her of our adventures, our shared laughter, our dreams, I read aloud the ritual, the chants echoing in the temple's cavernous depths. As the climax approached, I felt a pull, an otherworldly force urging me into the pool. But it was Mia who, in a moment of clarity, lunged past me, plunging into the dark depths. The earth trembled, shadows screamed, and then silence. The temple crumbled, leaving no trace of the pool or its horrors. Mia had trapped the entity, saving me and potentially countless others. With a heavy heart, I repaired our yacht using parts from the older wrecked one. As I sailed away, the once red sands looked golden under the setting sun, nature reclaiming its paradise. But some tales are too haunting to remain buried. My story isn't a hero's journey, it's a cautionary tale. And though I found solace in writing echoing Sailor's essence, there was one final twist left. One night as I drifted into sleep, Mia's voice whispered from the shadows, "The story isn't over yet." I anchored the yacht at the nearest port, the weight of what had happened pressing heavily on me. But what I couldn't shake was Mia's voice echoing ominously, "The story isn't over yet." In town, the island was a forbidden subject. The locals turned pale when I mentioned it, except for one old woman, her face lined with age, eyes sharp as a hawk's. She introduced herself as Naya, claiming to be a descendant of the island's original settlers. Over a cup of bitter tea, she told me more about the entity. It was older than time, feasting on souls, growing stronger with each offering. The diary I'd found only told part of the story. Naya spoke of a secondary ritual, one where the entity could be eradicated for good. But it required something even more challenging than a pure soul. It needed a traitor's redemption. As she spoke, the horrifying reality dawned on me. Mia had become the entity's servant, leading us into its trap. Her sacrifice had momentarily imprisoned it. But for a permanent solution, Mia herself would have to renounce the entity. Armed with this new knowledge and a satchel of ritualistic tools from Naya, I returned to the cursed island. The sun seemed dimmer, the shores more foreboding. The village was gone, but Mia's whispers guided me, growing louder, more desperate. The shadows seemed thicker, pressing in on me from all sides. In a clearing stood the remnants of the temple pool, its liquid shimmering in an otherworldly glow. Surrounding it were dark figures, the trapped souls, including my friends, locked in an eternal dance of anguish. Mia emerged, her form ethereal, beautiful, and terrifying. "Why return?" she hissed, her voice a symphony of anguish and rage. "For you," I whispered, "for all of us." As I sailed further away from the island, the serenity I felt began to wane. The waters grew eerily calm, and a dense fog enveloped the yacht. An unnatural silence descended. I went below deck to find something to eat, trying to shake off the unease. There, in the cabin's dim light, was Mia, but not the free spirit I had last seen on the shore. This was something else. Her form a grotesque shadow, eyes hollow yet burning with rage. "You thought it was over?" Her voice was a cacophony of screams. As she stepped closer, I noticed her hands dripping with fresh blood, a heartbeat echoing from her palms. The reality hit me. Mia wasn't free. The entity had played its final cruel trick, binding her spirit even tighter, transforming her into its guardian. "I'm sorry," she whispered, lunging at me. Her fingers, razor-sharp, aimed for my heart. The yacht's confines became our battleground. With every move, I could feel the entity's glee, sensing the impending bloodshed it craved. In a desperate move, I grabbed the crystalline dagger from Naya's satchel, plunging it towards Mia. But she was faster, turning the blade towards me. As the dagger pierced my chest, a rush of memories flooded me. The laughter, the adventures, the horrors. The entity's final victory wasn't just my life. It was the delicious irony of being slain by the very weapon I'd hoped would be its downfall. Mia, with tears of blood, cradled me as darkness encroached. "It's never over," she murmured, her voice echoing the torment of countless souls. And so, in the heart of the vast ocean, on a yacht that once symbolized freedom, the entity feasted, its hunger momentarily sated but its malevolence eternal. As the fog lifted, the yacht drifted aimlessly, a beacon for any unsuspecting traveler, luring them with the promise of adventure, only to unveil a tale of unspeakable horror. In the shadows of the night, if our tales from unsettling horror stories gave you a fright, press like and let it be known. Subscribe, so you're never alone in this haunting journey, and share, so others too can be wary. Until our next sinister tale, stay dark, dear listener.